Are you ready for your first question?
Yes.
What makes admin a top 5 position?
I believe that admin is a top 5 position because it is the foundation for all of our events. So recognizing that although it might be doing the logistics side of things, whether it may be just seen as reserving the rooms or being in control of meeting minutes, I think that is so important to how the rest of the organization flows. And without administrative officer being a top 5 position, then the rest of the organization will therefore be unorganized.
Okay, for your next question, how will you ensure that you can be a figure that your e-board looks up to and can rely on as a top 5 officer?
I believe that although my experiences have been limited to just be NSR, as I recognize that a lot of people who run for top 5 are not necessarily first years, I believe that I hold myself to a high standard and make sure that my responsibilities continue to follow through and I keep my promises. And could you please repeat the question?
How will you ensure that you can be a figure your e-board looks up to and can rely on as a top 5 officer?
I believe that with the things that I said in the speech, that being reliable means to show up for others. So whether it may be to show up to auxiliaries that I may not feel that I am like experts in, like for example, dancing. I think that like being able to recognize every single standpoint of where each chair or director is at is so important, and you're able to fully see the events that they're able to carry out. And I understand that with being a student and having a job and like also being at a top 5 position, you may not be able to be 100% all the time. And so I will do my best to ensure that my duties will be followed through. However, communicating that with the rest of my board when I'm not feeling my best is also super important, because I believe that that extends my reliability, even though I may lack at some points.
Are you ready for your next question?
Yes.
I'm going to preface this one is pretty long. So, this upcoming term has constitutional review. So, constitutional review is a biannual event. It occurs every 2 years. Basically, it is when our e-board comes together to make amendments to the Constitution. It's more of the formal event of creating these amendments into the Constitution and voting for them. One of the duties of admin is to assist in running this event, especially typing up minutes, discussions, and basically explanations of those who proposed the event, or not event, add amendments to the Constitution, whether it's for their positions, rephrasing certain things, or other parts of the Constitution, such as like elections, details, and logistics. How would you work with top 5 to prep for this event and ensure amendments will be beneficial to the evolution of Andres Bonifacio Samahan?
Yeah, so I believe that with constitutional review, I think that as a top 5, we would first address the issues that we see firsthand, and then discuss it with, or hear what other GBMers have to say from their standpoint. Thus, in preparation for constitutional review, we can keep those in mind and prep how we would go about addressing those in the most appropriate manner. I recognize that a lot of things that we find like we're used to now has been really big changes in constitutional review, such as the fact that admin was just said to serve as a support role for social, rather now it's putting more effort to support all roles. So I think that by overseeing all of the parts and descriptions of the Constitution, we can prep ourselves to understand where every single side of board or a general board comes from. And I recognize that as well. There was a Google form in which people were able to input their own ideas to how we could improve our constitutional review. And I think that by having those like fully written out, it could be easier for me as well to follow those meeting minutes, recognizing that there is kind of a set outline that we can expand on.
Are you ready for your next question?
Yes.
How will you balance your responsibilities with your duties in this organization?
I believe that easing into my role as administrative officer will come with time. However, I believe that I have executed a lot of leadership roles, especially in my past during high school, and have developed throughout my time in college, recognizing that sometimes I may overcommit myself, and being able to recognize that so early on, especially in my first year, and taking a step back from what I signed up for is important, because I was able to fully understand what I could and could not handle, so that I was able to not just like drop all of my responsibilities because I overcommitted myself. So I believe that when being able to fill all my duties, I saw that past administrative officers suggested to set designated times to really address every single EAS reservation or those emails, and also be in collaboration and work hand in hand with the other people on executive board, because I also saw that some may have said like it was an isolating role. So I believe that working with others as well would definitely like motivate me to continue filling out my duties, because I'm working for a greater purpose.
Are you ready for your final question?
Yes.
Are there any current processes in Samahan logistics, i.e. EAS reservations, external announcements, elections, etc., that you want to make changes to? If so, how?
Yeah, so I think that especially entering election season, I had a lot of questions for how I could go about like campaigning and things like that, because in my past experiences in high school, especially when I was campaigning a lot, there was designated there's designated guidelines. So I think specifically next year, I want to support those next candidates into having a greater sense of understanding to coming into their first, whether it may be executive board elections for a college organization is really important. And could you possibly repeat your question, please?
Are there any current processes in Samahan logistics, i.e. EAS reservation, external announcements, elections, etc., that you want to make changes to? If so, how?
And yeah, like I said in my speech, I think that event approvals can be really something that I implement, especially because I recognize that although there is a large number of events, sometimes there can tend to be a lack of like planning done ahead of time, or some things may be overlooked. So in this implementation, I believe that with my role to do so, I could help events have a greater sense of purpose and understanding by the GBMers and also by the rest of our executive board.